So pin that window, and it has my paper in it. I'll do the same so I can see what I'm writing for you. Is there anybody that's confused about how to pin it? All right, so we're going to pin the window, and I'm going to ask this question. So if I had 4 times 8 over 3, can you guys type in the chat window what you think the answer to that? Actually, let's make it a little easier. Let's go 9 over 3. That'll be easier. So what do you think the answer to that question would be? 4 times 9 over 3. Waiting for responses in the chat window. 4 times 9 over 3. Again, waiting for responses in the chat window. Okay, so I see one response, 12. 36 divided by 12. I see 12. Well, what is 4 times 9? 4 times 9 is 36. Right? Is there anything under this 4 right here? Nothing under the 4. So it's like being over an imaginary 1. So when you're multiplying fractions, you multiply 4, you multiply across the top, and you multiply across the bottom. Then you divide the top by what's on the bottom. So 1 times 3 is 3. So the answer to the question is, so the people that said 12, yes. All right, so let's try another one. So if I have 5 times 10 halves equals, what would that equal? Chat window? I see 25, I see 2 25s. So 5 times 10 is 50. And that's over 1. 1 times 2 is 2. So 50 divided by 2 is 25. All right, cool. So I'm going to hope that we understand that when you're multiplying fractions, you multiply across the top, you multiply across the bottom, and you divide the top by the bottom. Now, what if I have this? 5x multiplied by 10y over 2x. What would that equal? Chat window. (10y over 10x). Keep going. Anybody else got an answer? All right. What do you get when you're multiplying in math? When you're doing math like this, you think about the variables and the numbers as separate things. So what's 5 times 10? 50. This is over 1 again. What's 1 times 2? 2. So it's really just like this, except we have these variables. So if I multiply x times y, all you can do with that is say xy. There is no variable here, so on the bottom, the x it's like x times 1, so it's just x. Now, what can you simplify this fraction? What happens to those x's? The x's will actually, since it's x divided by x, that's equal to 1, so we can just cancel those out. 50 divided by 2 is 25, so the answer to that question was 25y. Okay, I want a number. I need some feedback from you. And in these Zoom meetings, it's always kind of frustrating because it's hard to know. I can't read your faces. So can you give me, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well you understood what I just told you about this on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being I really got it. Okay, so in the chat window, please hit some numbers. I see one number, more responses. Just fire them out at me real quick. Okay. All right. So that gives me some good feedback. And now you changed your number. All right. So I'm going to go with the latter number because it looks like you changed it to that. Okay. So now I'm going to do one more example of that. And this time I'm going to do it with kind of strange stuff. So I'm going to say, what if I had 7 weeks? And I wanted to know how many months that was. So what you would need to do is multiply in such a way that my undesirable unit goes away. So if I wanted to cancel out weeks, would I need to put weeks on the top, or would I need to put weeks on the bottom if I wanted it to cancel, like the X did up here? Would weeks go on the top or on the bottom? It would need to go on the bottom. That's right. Just like the X on the bottom canceled the X on the top. So I put weeks down here. And then if I wanted to know how many months that was, I'd have to put months on top. What I'm looking for would go on the top. All right, so what I'm going to try and do now is think of a relationship between weeks and months that we might know. So we're going to generalize a little bit, but in general, 1 month is about 4 weeks. Would you agree with that? So then I'd have 7 times 1 is 7. That's over 1. 1 times 4 is 4. And weeks would cancel because you can see one's on top and one's on the bottom. So it's 7/4 months. But in chemistry, we don't like to use decimals like that. Or excuse me, fractions. We'd rather use decimals. So what we'll do is we'll open up our calculators. And we'll do what is 7 divided by 4. So 1.75 months. All right. Now, give me some feedback on that one. Using a scale of 1 to 10 again. Some feedback. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right, I'm going to do another one like that because in this case, there was a little slight difference between these two problems. In the first case, what I did was I gave you the 10y and the 2x. I didn't ask you to think about it. I just asked you to do the math. In the second case, I asked you to think about this because we were designing our own ratio so that our unwanted unit would cancel out. So let's do another one that you're familiar with. Let's suppose we have 48 hours of time that we're out of school, so 2 days. But we want to know how many seconds that is. Well, let's go to minutes. Let's say how many minutes that is. All right. So you're going to set up this problem like this. You'd say 48 hours, and we need our hours to go away because we don't want hours. We want minutes. So where do I write hours so that they cancel out? Top or bottom? Okay, so I'm going to put hours on the bottom, right? And on the top, I'm going to put minutes. All right, now, what is the relationship between minutes and hours? Do we know? How many minutes are in an hour? Okay, so since we know there are 60 minutes in an hour, we can say there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So now, would you multiply or divide by that 60? 48 multiply by 60, right? So I'm going to have 48 times 60. So 2,880. And since hours cancel, our unit is minutes. Okay, once again, scale of 1 to 10. Tell me how we're doing. Keep going. I see 2 people, 3 responses, 4 responses. But there's more than 4 of us here. Okay, so at this point, I think I'm ready to go to our breakout rooms. So